The Sega Dreamcast launched in the US on September 9th, 1999 for an unbelievable price of $199. It was definitely an amazing time. I was hyped up like so many others. There was 18 titles available from day one, and the library of games were definitely amazing. On launch, we had games like Power Stone, Mortal Kombat Gold, Soul Calibur, Sonic Adventure, Blue Stinger, Hydro Thunder, Tokyo Extreme Racing, Pen Triathlon? I don't even know how to say that game, but I played it. It's kind of dumb, but I played it. We had House of the Dead 2. Holy crap. Such an amazing launch lineup. Coming off of the Nintendo 64, which surprisingly only launched a little over a couple years prior to the Dreamcast, this system was unbelievable. Being able to play games online on a console for the first time, seeing these amazing arcade ports, seeing these amazing graphics, it was definitely an awesome time. And the Dreamcast for me was a system that I cherish very near and dear to my heart. It was the fourth system that I purchased with my own money. I had to work hard for it. It wasn't a crazy expensive system, but hey, it was the fourth system that I purchased with my own money, and I really dug it. So many awesome games. And on my channel, I'm always looking at convenience. What's the best way to play my games? How can I enjoy these original systems? And today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at what I consider to be the ultimate modded Sega Dreamcast. This thing has been totally refurbished, modified, and is just gaming bliss if you're a Sega Dreamcast fan. So we're going to be taking a look at what this thing can do and talking about it in a little more depth. So let's go ahead and get this party started. So I think the best place to begin is to show what was done and removed from my system. So with this Dreamcast, all the capacitors have been replaced with cap kits from Console 5, both the power supply and motherboard. Caps can go bad over time, and hey, why not get them replaced if it's already being opened and worked on? We got a brand new fan. We got a new battery. Actually, it's a whole battery mod replacement. That way you can easily change in and out your battery. We also removed the GD-ROM drive. No longer needed. We're booting games from SD card, and we will take a closer look at all that in a moment. But this is all the stuff that was removed and replaced. We've got some upgraded components, but one of the biggest things for me for my Dreamcast is this thing is clean. I loves me a clean system. So here she is, my personal love, my Dreamcast. So all these mods, most of them anyway, were done by Dragon's Horde Gaming. He does have an eBay shop. I'll put a link in the description and a Twitter page. I'll link him all up. He does amazing work, professional quality work. This is what he does for a living, and his turnaround time is pretty amazing as well. As you see here on my Dreamcast, we do have a HDMI slot now, and that's going to be one of the biggest things we talk about here. So there's the system. Opening her up. No more GD-ROM drive. We are booting games from SD card using a GD-EMU. Pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and open this up. I already have the screws out. We just got to take that modem off. Pretty amazing. First console to ship with a modem. Awesome stuff. So opening her up, we do have some new stuff going on in here. As you can see, a little closer look anyway. We do have that brand new battery holder, so you can easily replace the battery if need be. All those caps for the power supply and everything underneath on the motherboard. The new GDMU, it's an official one. I didn't get a bootleg one. And there's the battery. And then we also have the pretty sweet Noctua fan with the 3D printed part. I believe the 3D printed part is credited to Greg Collins on Thingiverse. Pretty sweet. Does make the system run cooler and quiet. Definitely a good thing. So there we go. These are the internals of the system. Pretty awesome with that nicely cut mini HDMI slot. So when does it like stop being a official system, right? When everything's being replaced on the inside. I know But hey, pretty much everything is original other than the way we're going to play these games and how we're going to output them. So that's got me excited. So let's go ahead, take a look at some gameplay and see what the GDEMU and the DC HDMI mod does. So let's take a closer look. So we've got the Dreamcast booted up and we have launched into GD Menu, which is a graphical user interface for the GDEMU. Very awesome, makes it very easy to scroll through your games. We do have some options here: region free, force VGA, in-game reset. You could turn on and off the boot intro and the Sega license. So a lot of cool options here. One of the biggest ones is definitely going to be the region free option. A lot of people, when I was talking about the ultimate modded Sega Dreamcast, they're like, dude, you need to get a Unibios. That way you can play whatever region games you want. But with the GDEMU, you don't have to worry about that. So that's definitely a cool thing. So some nice options here. I'm still working on getting my SD cards for my GDEMU sorted. That's why you'll see maybe a couple games not showing up properly or duplicates, so on and so forth. Not a big deal. But with the GDEMU and loading from SD card, things are a lot faster. Games load a lot faster, and that is a huge thing. One of the biggest things using an ODE, an optical drive emulator, is obviously you're no longer using discs. If you're a collector of games, that's great. There's a lot of Dreamcast games out there that are very expensive, and you may not want to put that wear and tear on your discs. You may just want to keep them, make sure they're in good shape. So this is definitely a great option for that. Now, I know there's some Chinese clones out there for the GDEMU. I do not have any experience with them, so I can't really speak on that kind of stuff. I know I've heard from other people who have the Chinese clones that they have had no issues with it whatsoever, and that's definitely a good thing. I know getting the official GDEMU can be a pain in the butt due to availability. Price is a little high, but it's definitely worth it. For me, I prefer getting the original version of it instead of a clone, because you just never know if the clones are going to be 100% on spec with what the original creator intended. And then when there's firmware updates or fixes, I don't know if the Chinese clone is going to be able to support that. So that's why I made sure I got an original version of it. But if you have a Chinese clone that works great, awesome. I know there's other options besides GDEMU, but for me, I prefer it this way. Having SD cards, being able to swap them in and out if I need to, or you can use, higher capacity SD cards, just format them properly. So really awesome stuff with the GDEMU. I didn't want to spend too much time on that because we have talked about it in the past. What I really want to focus on is more so the DC HDMI mod. That's what we're looking at right now. All the output, all the games we're playing are going through HDMI. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at what the DC HDMI mod can do. The DC HDMI kit is probably my most favorite mod out of everything we're taking a look at today. It's the only digital to digital Dreamcast solution out there, has a ton of options. All the gameplay you've been looking at has been output by the DC HDMI. Currently, this goes for $150 just for the kit. If you want to get it installed, if you're not comfortable doing so yourself, that will be an additional cost. This was put out by Dan Kuntz, otherwise known as Citrus 3000 PSI on Twitter. And I think this thing is definitely amazing compared to all the other options out there. So taking a look at some of the options, in order to get into the menu, you hold LR, XA, and start. Our output resolutions, we have several: VGA, 480p, 960p, and 1080p. So leaving it to 1080p looks great. We do have some advanced video settings as well: deinterlacer, bob, or pass-through, 240p adjustment position on or off. And then we also have RGB color space auto, limited, or full. So I'm just going to leave it to auto. Everything looks good to me. The cool thing with this is, to go forward, to save things, you use the L and R buttons. That way you're not really messing with the game that you're playing. You're not accidentally starting anything. The other thing that we have that I don't really care for is the scan lines. Now, sure, you can mess with the thickness, odd or even, the intensity. But for me, I just don't really care for scan lines. playing the Dreamcast on a modern display. It just kind of darkens the image for me. You know, you might be able to find a sweet spot that works for you. Some people are a big fan of scan lines. Myself, I don't really care for them. You know, I'm fine without, but hey, it is an option. Definitely nice to have something. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean others won't. So pretty cool. We do have some video mode settings as well. Force VGA is probably the one you'll just leave it on. Cable detect and switch trick VGA for those games that you may need to trick the system into properly booting. You know, those VGA ones, don't want to go into the full thing with that, but we do have firmware options as well. Pretty sweet. So you can download the firmware to the system if you set up Wi-Fi. We do have a few flavors of firmware, standard and relaxed. As you see, there's some options for relaxed. Standard, just fully HDMI compliant, so really cool. So you can download Flash, do all that good stuff if there's an update. Wi-Fi setup, boom. We got Wi-Fi on the system in order to download our firmware. Pretty awesome stuff. And then a little test screen that you can mess around with, take a look at. I don't know what all these numbers mean, but hey, it's there just in case it's important to you. So I'm really digging this mod. Really loving the video output that we're getting. So I know these mods are fairly pricey for everything I got going here. The DC, HDMI, the GDMU, getting everything recapped, getting that Noctua fan, the battery replacement mod, everything cleaned up and working great. For me, it was worth it, not for everyone, but I do realize that these options aren't going to be for everybody. I can recommend them for sure if you love the Dreamcast as much as I do. I had so much fun with this system back in the day. A lot of it playing online with people, playing Phantasy Star Online, NFL 2K1, Alien Front Online. Man, so many great experiences with this system. And to be able to keep my system in tip-top shape, get it modified to get the best out of it for me, I think was definitely a good thing to do. Yeah, pretty costly, I know. But there are other options out there. Baharo Bros does have their boxes to be able to play your system through HDMI or VGA. There's other companies out there doing the analog to digital, you know, pound cables and whatnot. Kind of varying quality, but some people like it. Some people are just done with that stuff. But I recognize some things may be out of the price range for people. Other things may work just fine for your setup and your needs. This was just to highlight a system I really love and some mods that are available for it. Like I said, I'll have links in the description for everything, for the person who modded my system, where to get the DC, HDMI, the GDMU if it's available, all that good stuff. Definitely don't need to do every single mod to get the best out of this. It was just for me, hey, I want to get some things done, might as well go almost the whole 9 yards and get all the things done that I could. Sure, there's some other stuff coming out that I think is pretty neat, some Bluetooth ports, stuff like that. But hey, we may have a newer video in the future talking about some other mods for the system. But right now for me, this is the ultimate modded Dreamcast. So I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. With that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom.